Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. You're here watching Misconceptions with me, Muhammad Hashim, and of course Yusuf Estes. Before the break, we were talking about the many misconceptions about people entering in Islam.
Yeah.
Let's talk about once you become a Muslim. What are the many misconceptions of reverts entering Islam then?
Oh, yes, that's a very good idea. To talk about misconceptions, having been in something else and coming to Islam, I can tell you that I had a lot of misperceptions and misconceptions about what it would be to be a Muslim, and also what would be the condition of my relationship to the new Muslims. It was actually a bit overwhelming from time to time, and I wasn't really sure what I got into. But let's now turn it again to our audience and take some questions. Who has the next question?
Yes, Sheikh, I have a question.
Please.
How about the problems that are facing new Muslims in Islam, like fasting, hijab, circumcision? How do they perceive it?
I think entering into Islam, especially at an older age, well, circumcision would be a problem, and all the other stuff that goes along with it. How would they deal with it, or how are they dealing with it?
Well, first of all, let's find out what is an obligation in Islam, because sometimes things are put off on you right away when you come into Islam. It's a bit overwhelming that some of the Muslims who are born into Islam expect you to be able to understand and do right away. Like, for instance, I remember somebody handing me a Quran and wanting me to sit and read. And I opened it up, and I said, "Where's the words?" Look at this. What is this? It looks like scribbling or something. I had no idea what I was looking at. And they said, "Well, just take your time and read it." I said, "Read what? I can't understand what I'm looking at."
So they
said, "Well, one thing, you got the book upside down. Another thing, you open it from the other side." I'm going, "Oh, no, come on." Other misconceptions that we have when we get into Islam, as being reverts, if you will, which we mentioned in the first part of the program, is that the hijab for the women. Because as soon as she gets into Islam, you've got brothers out here ready to cover her up, look like a black crow walking down the street. Now here's a girl that's coming away from halter tops, and short skirts and things like this, and just walking around and all that. Now all of a sudden you're saying, you're a Muslim now, and we're going to put about 20 pounds of wool all over you, and you're going to walk down the street in Chicago or California somewhere, and it's more than they can bear. You might scare somebody away before they ever get started. So what we like to do is let each person come in according to their own understanding and ability. The most important thing was to get to Islam, to understand there really is only one God, and that you want to do what He wants you to do, and Muhammad is the messenger, and we're going to follow what He says. But we're going to do it according to our ability to accept it and deal with it. Now, if they want to deny those things, being part of Islam, that's the problem in belief. That doesn't work. But if they said, "Yeah, I believe it, but I'm just not ready for that yet," then we're going to be patient with them and help them in any way we can. We like to help the ladies, for instance, by having different alternatives in colors of their clothing and fabric that they might like to choose. Also, considering where they live. Like in some countries, it's even illegal for a woman to cover her face or cover her hair or even wear hijab altogether. So we want to consider what their background is and what they can deal with. But if they're able to handle it right away, again, we'll tell them, take it step by step. If she said, "Lord, I just want to do everything all at once," and go straight from a bikini into burqa, you'd be like, "Hold on, take it easy," because once you start, Islam is not really set up for you to back up. It's no reverse gear. So go in slow, take your time. Now, when you come to the subject of circumcision, definitely this is something you could scare somebody away from Islam in a hurry. As soon as you whip out the knife and you say, "Okay, guess what?"
Oh, you're a Muslim now, come on.
Another problem is female circumcision. This is not Islam. This is nothing in Islam telling us to do this to women. And this is something coming from cultures, and especially like places like Africa and so on, where they did that from idolatry and paganism. So how do we handle that? Understand from the beginning it is a sunnah, something that if you do it there's a big reward. But there's nothing Islam said if a man didn't do it, he can't be a Muslim anymore. There's nothing Islam says if a man doesn't do that, he's not a Muslim.
I mean, that's a very important point, because not many people
So
know
if he can't do it, if there's some problem, then okay. But if he says, "I wish I could do it, but if I do it, I have diabetes," for instance, or something, and this will cause a serious problem or might open up an opportunity for serious sickness or death, okay, in this case, take it easy. Nothing in Islam is telling you to hurt yourself. But if it's not a difficulty, we can understand what's going on with that and arrange for that. They should do it.
So there's nothing to fear when a new revert is entering Islam.
There's not supposed to be.
Not supposed to.
I say that because there are other things that could come up, the misconceptions that Muslims themselves have about a revert and what you're supposed to do or treat them.
The expectations.
What you are supposed to do is treat them good. Take them to eat. Take them out to share and learn about Islam, to help them buy books, help them get the proper clothing that they'd like to have, show them how to pray, spend time with them, teaching them how to pronounce words, helping them to feel good about being a Muslim. But not going overboard and saying, okay, brother, you have a picture on your wall, you know, of a bird or something. That's got to come off or you're not a Muslim anymore. Okay, take it easy, you know. And especially as you live in a house with other relatives who are not Muslim, you know. And, oh, you have a TV set. Oh, brother, we have to throw the TV set away. Now, by the way, because this is a TV show, obviously I'm going to be in favor of the TV, but only for our program.
Only for this program.
Yeah. But I think it's important also to take another question at this stage. What do you have, brother?
Yes, I have a question. What about if they want to leave Islam?
What if they want to leave Islam?
Yes, like
Apostasy.
killing them.
Yeah. If they want to go out of
Once
Islam.
they get into Islam and then they decide it's not for me, I want to kind of
We've
back
talked
out.
about it in some of our other programs.
We have.
The word is murtid. If somebody becomes murtid, goes out of Islam, what do? Immediately, this is where the media, the politicians, and the attackers against Islam, other religions, come and say, look, these guys are going to kill you. If you get in, they're going to take a knife and cut you one way. If you go out, they're going to get a knife and cut you another way.
Does that scare a lot of people for not entering in the first place?
I don't think it scares anybody really who's serious about it. I think it would be a concern, as it was for me. Because I was told that if you go into Islam and then leave, the penalty is death. That's what I was told. And I said, well, okay, let me keep thinking about that for a while. Then I came to understand something on another level. This is not what it sounds like. If a person doesn't want to be a Muslim anymore, they're not. The instant somebody doesn't want to be a Muslim, they're not. Why? Because the sincerity ended. The minute
within themselves.
The minute that the person is not sincere anymore, that's one of the 5 ingredients. It's not there. He said, I don't want to be a Muslim. He's not. In fact, and now if he wants to go back into Islam, he wants to get his prayers accepted and so on, he's got to make a new shahada. Where the problem comes in is people who go into Islam overtly making a lot of falderall about this thing. Look, I'm a Muslim, and then they go out the same way. Oh, I don't like Islam, I don't want to be a Muslim anymore. Come on, you guys go with me. Well, this is the whole concept now, isn't it? It's the idea of taking other people out, causing other people to doubt that there's a God or that Allah is the one sending Quran, things like this. So there were people who did this, not just to Islam. There were people who tried to do that to the Christians. There were those who came and twisted the message of Jesus, hoping to mess everything up for those people, and then what that does, it caused people to go out. So they couldn't get them out one way, they take them out another way from the inside. So if somebody's working on destroying Islam from the inside, yes, they could easily be put to death, but who by who? Now let's stop. Remember, you have to have proper emirship or a khalifa. And you have to have a hakim, a real judge. It's not a vigilante operation. This is so many times we've said it. Islam is not about vigilantes. None of us could go out and do anything to anybody else. Not even punish them for drinking alcohol or anything. You just cannot do that. Which brings us to another misconception. What about drinking alcohol and they're going to beat me up and I'm trying to get off of it? No, we'd actually help them to get off of the alcohol, cigarettes, or whatever else they're doing. We wouldn't be punishing them.
So if someone enters and they still smoke or drink alcohol,
brother, you got Muslims, born Muslims, smoking, and nobody's doing anything to them. Well, come on. We should be encouraging each other to get away from them because it'll kill you. It's a bad thing. It's definitely haram, but still, get the balance. That's what I always say, get the balance. But before we wrap up, let's take one more question.
I've seen, if we continue on this subject, I've seen a lot of new Muslims. They believe that every Muslim follows Islam and that every Muslim knows everything about Islam. And whatever he does is Islam.
That's a really good point, because people just think because you're a Muslim, you're perfect, or you have to be perfect.
Yeah. You yourself were born Muslim, You can answer that one. Is it true that all Muslims know everything about
Certainly
Islam?
not. Certainly not.
No.
It's a lot of hard work. And
Yes,
takes
it
time.
takes time to learn Islam. And don't just think because he's wearing a kufi on his head or a turban and he has a beard and a long dress on that he knows everything about Islam. Some of the biggest scholars I met, you wouldn't know him from anybody else walking down the street. The real Islam starts on the inside, and then you'll see it and observe it in the way people behave. And I wish we had more time on this because I'd like to go into depth. But what I always encourage all the new Muslims, go to the website called reverts.com. That's Reverts. Yeah, it's two words but jammed together. Reverts.com. You'll find a whole series of videos of many people telling their story of coming to Islam, problems they faced, delights that they found, the good things in Islam, problems with family, things like this. You get it all there. Reverts.com.
Thank you very much, Sheikh. We've run out of time, unfortunately. You've been watching Misconceptions with me, Muhammad Hashim, and of course Yusuf Estes. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
If you ask me who my prophet is, I will say, haven't you heard? His name is Muhammad. A mercy to the worlds, a mercy to the worlds. If you ask me who my enemy is, I will say, don't you know? If you ask me who my enemy is, he's that same old devil, that same old devil.